With the massively huge success critically and commercially of 2018's Halloween, the studio decided to move forward with a sequel. Originally set to be released in October of 2020, COVID hit, so in October of 2021, Halloween Kills came to life. Evil dies tonight! Evil dies tonight! What's up, guys, and welcome back to my Halloween film series review. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking here. I really do appreciate it. We are one step closer to ends. I'm very, very excited. It's been a wild ride. If you haven't checked them out yet, I've got my previous reviews for the previous Halloween films down in the description below, so check those out when you can. Following the same night where the last film left off, Halloween Kills continues Michael's reign of terror as the surviving victims form a mob to stop the evil once and for all. I always felt that Kills was way different from the 2018 film. I always thought it was way different. It was more brutal. It just felt like a different film entirely, even though this is a direct sequel to that film. I always thought this to be the superior over that one. But as time went on, I started to doubt. I started to question certain things. But was it as nerve-wracking as the last? We'll find out. Before we get into all that, let's get into the positives for Halloween Kills. Again, I always thought that this was the most brutal compared to the 2018 film. I always thought that this one was the most brutal. Maybe not as brutal as Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but close enough. It just seemed like the superior to that film in my mind, because the kills were pretty graphic. Again, still holds no candle to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but it's like a hair close. It's just a touch up there. You got some great carnage candy in Halloween Kills. Like you have the whole opening scene to where the firefighters gets to Laura's compound where it's burning up, because it like literally starts from where the last movie ended, with Michael burning up in that house. He manages to get away, of course. He walks out the house, he's got that pickaxe. And I thought that was an epic moment within itself. And then he just lops all those people off. There's your first kill count. And it was pretty massive. I think in that scene alone, he killed like 5 or 6 people. It was very wicked. The film really starts off with a good note, especially for all you gore hounds. Then you have this one guy who gets knives to the back, and this other girl gets stabbed in the throat by the light fixture or whatever it was. I'm telling you, again, the Kills goes neck and neck with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Maybe not quite, but very close. Michael Myers himself, again, awesome. Didn't disappoint. James Jude Courtney delivered again. He's very brutal, and he showed his bluntness and just the all-out evil that this character brings. And James Jude Courtney, again, he did not disappoint. He knew the type of character he was playing. He put his heart and soul into it. You can just tell that by just looking at his scenes, especially the kill scenes. He was cool. He definitely did not disappoint.
Do it!
You get this really cool flashback opening sequence to where it actually shows you the events a split seconds after the original film. And the way that scene plays out, it's awesome. The way it looks, that grainy feel, that 1970s grainy feel, you actually think that you're actually watching a 1970s film with that scene alone. I mean, that scene pretty much topped it. So it basically takes like several seconds after the events of the original film, where Michael is just going around the neighborhood trying to get away from the cops, and the cops chasing him and trying to find him. You just get that grainy 1970s feel that just felt authentic in its own way, in the most best possible way. I mean, it looked like an actual 70s movie with that scene alone. It was awesome. And I hadn't even scratched the surface yet. The house. They finally got it right. None of the other sequels, other than probably the original 2, but that's about the only last time we actually see it, but they never gave a crap about details in any of the other sequels. Yes, even though this is a newer franchise, we finally get a Halloween movie where they got the freaking house right. Everything from the wall paint, the papers, the exterior, to that doorknob that fell down and crashed into the window and freaked Dr. Loomis out in the original, to a dead dog that was laying in the middle of the room that was mentioned in the original. Every detail was just laid out, and it was just, finally, they gave a shit.
That's the Myers house. That's where it happened. Halloween, 1963.
Every detail was perfect. It's about damn time. They didn't go all out this time like they did in 5 and all the others where they made it look like a mansion. It's like they were trying too hard in those films. But in this, they actually got it right. For once. And Michael Myers in that scene, the dude that played him, which wasn't James Jude Courtney, but it was like someone else. But the way he played that particular part, since it was taking place split seconds after the 1970 film, that actually was pretty authentic. I mean, the way that he looked, from every detail, even down to the mask, I mean, it looked like you got that original William Shatner mask that they used in the original. They went all out in this, especially dealing with that particular scene. Not to mention Loomis. Yes, Dr. Loomis actually shows up. But even though we're in a timeline where he actually did pass away, and sadly with that Donald Pleasance not being around anymore, they got that right in this. I don't know who the guy was that played Loomis in this. You only see him in a couple of shots. But when you do, I could swear Donald Pleasance had a twin out there somewhere. I mean, every single detail of this man, whenever you see him on screen, you'd think, wait a minute, did Donald Pleasance rise from the dead just to do this movie? Seriously? That's what I thought. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but still, you look at that guy that played Loomis, and he's just a replica, like a clone. It was baffling. It was amazing. And it was awesome, just the way he sounded. I mean, you saw him speak. You hear him say the line, "Did Michael kill again?" He had that same accent. And just all around look and presentation of him. It brought back memories, that's for sure. It's just, damn. Yeah, knowing that that's not actually Donald Pleasance, he could be a good replacement if they ever did decide to resurrect that character again. That was just awesome. I loved seeing that. It just brought back memories, and it kind of made me a little sad knowing that the actual guy is no longer around, because he was the light, he was the shining beam of this series. I actually like Judy Greer as Karen, Laurie's daughter, in this one a lot better than I did in the 2018 version. They seemed like they really improved her character in Kills. She's much better improved. She showed much more fire. She was in a more realistic world than what she was in the 2018 version. Of course, she's been through hell since that, but still, I can tolerate her character a lot more in this. And I was rooting for her. I actually rooting for her. Majorly different in character-wise and character development. And like I said, she was pretty insufferable in the 2018 version, but in Kills, they definitely improved her. I definitely could stand her a lot more in this than I could in that film. She has more of a purpose in this. She showed a much more tougher side. Much improved. Just much improved.
You want your mask? Come and get it! You want to fucking kill someone? Take me!
And Andi Matichak comes back as well as Allison, the granddaughter to Laurie. And like in the last film, I thought she was pretty good. She showed that great emotion, and she's just one of those characters that I was rooting for, that I really did care, and really was thankful that she was one of the final girls that you just know, and you see that final girl characterization in her. And again, Andi Matichak, pretty good. She still holds up as one of my favorite final girls. The look and feel of this film, aside from that flashback scene, because that was awesome within itself, the look and feel of the rest of this film was done pretty well. It was very cool. It was very stylistic. Since the whole entire film took place around the same night from the last film, the way it looks, the way the darks, the lighting of the night, it was handled very well. And like I said with the 2018 film, with the unmasked scenes that Michael was in, which he wasn't unmasked as much in this, But when he was, which was mainly the final act, the third act, they still did it pretty well. They still handled it with care. You still couldn't really see his face, and when he would bend down and pick his mask up and put it on, you see like the close-up. By the time you see the close-up, his mask is already like on. And again, with that care and just all-out carefulness, I really did appreciate that. And you get an awesome score. Like, John Carpenter comes back and his son, and you get an awesome score. John Carpenter returns along with his son, Cody Carpenter. They just bring that uniqueness to the score. You get the Halloween theme mixed in with a more modernized, synthesized sound. Just that blend and mixture alone just makes it pretty unique, and it really made this movie pop. And with the 2018 version as well. Very well done. Very well done. And I like the fact that they went back to how the original first two films presented the beginning credits, to where you have the pumpkin, the flashy pumpkin, to where in the 2018 film, they have this deflated pumpkin that just blows up. And in Kills, you have these flaming pumpkins that are on fire. It's like several of them, and it's just like the original. That's another thing I can definitely take away from this franchise whenever David Gordon Green decided to reboot it and make it an entire new franchise. Like, they tried so hard to make it so close to the original films, or to the original really, that they recreated that but in their own way. And I love that they did that. Now, time to get serious, people. As much as I praise this movie, because there was a lot that I liked about it, a lot more than what the 2018 version said, I still can't let some things slide. There's some things that happened in this, in Kills, that I just can't let slide. So as we dive into the negatives, evil dies tonight, evil dies tonight, evil dies tonight. That right there was so annoying. That whole shtick with this mob coming together and just kept on chanting that over and over again. It's like, we get it. Just hunt the bastard down and be done with it. They just went way too far with that. Almost to the point to where you felt like they were bashing your head up against the wall. That's how mind-numbing it was. Now, the first couple of times when it was chanted, it was alright, but they just kept on and on and on and on. It's just, shut up! There's just a lot of moments in this movie where, especially at those parts, there's just an eye roller. Just rolling your eyes all the time. By the time those parts were done with, my eyes were in the back of my skull. And for that reason alone is why the story didn't really work. And to talk about this segment, I can't really talk about it without comparing it to 4. They did the same thing in 4. But at least in 4, it was handled better. You can tolerate it a lot better than you can in Kills. See, they tried to replicate it in Halloween Kills, with that whole mob scene and going after Michael and all that. But in 4, at least they didn't bash you over the head with it. They handled it better in that one. It worked better in 4 because it was more unique and more original. It didn't feel like they were beating you up inside the head with it. It felt natural in 4. It just felt right. But in Kills, not so much. I didn't like the way they handled the legacy characters. I just think that that was a huge missed opportunity within itself. First of all, you got Jamie Lee Curtis, who returns, but she didn't really hardly do anything. You don't really get that much from Jamie Lee Curtis in this particular entry. Yes, she goes through hell at the end of the 2018. She gets stabbed, and she gets pretty much put through the ringer. But I just felt like her character was way, way watered down in this and Kills. At a certain point, it just felt like she was there for the hell of it. Just, that was it. Nothing new to the story. I felt like they could have done more with her character. Here's hoping that Ends gives us more. And then you got Nancy Stevens, who plays the nurse in the original 2, who does nothing but just like point the gun at Michael and it not go off and say, "This is for Dr. Loomis," and then she gets stabbed and it's like, okay, whatever. And Charles Cypher, who played the original sheriff in the first 2, you get him back, but he doesn't even do nothing but just stay around the hospital and yell, "Tommy, and you killed my daughter 40 years ago, and this and that." Okay, we already know all that, so what's your point? Just did nothing to add to the story. Just did nothing for the movie itself. Nothing to contribute. It's just a total waste. Scream handled their legacy characters a lot better. The last Scream movie that came out, They handled their legacy characters a lot better than this film. And it just goes to show you that having the legacy characters back doesn't always mean a good thing. Plus you got Tommy Doyle, played by Anthony Michael Hall, who's just completely pointless. Always talking in a way nobody talks. I'm gonna swing all Huckleberry here. Say night-night, Michael. Say night-night. Who talks like that? No one. No one talks like that. To be honest, the only legacy character that came back was Kyle Richard, who played Lindsay Wallace, who was actually also one of the kids, along with Tommy Doyle, that Laurie babysat in the original. She was the only one that kind of contributed, that kind of tried. It just seemed like with her character, she seemed like she cared enough to be there. She seemed like she cared enough for the character, and she was the only one that was actually doing something. A thing that really puzzles me is the fact that Will Patton is back. Now, if you do remember, in the last film, he literally gets run over by a car after being stabbed and attacked by Zartane. Now, I get narratively why they had to bring him back for kills, because of the flashback scenes involving his character as a younger cop of the force. I get that. But if they hadn't just thrown it in your face in the 2018 version that he clearly got run over by a car, he must have been one strong guy to walk away from that. Even though he was in the hospital, you clearly see the car run, like, split down the middle from him. Let me just play this clip from the 2018 film for you real quick in slow motion. You saw that, right? Anybody? Yeah, anybody? And you have this whole mistaken identity crisis where this guy trollops into the hospital and that mob is like looking for Michael and all that, and they think that that's him. Here's a man that looks round and has none of the physique, none of the looks, even though Michael wears a mask. Who in their right mind could mistaken this man for Michael Myers? You see, Michael, he's always thin. He's always more tough looking. But the guy that they keep on mistaking Michael to be, no. I never bought that. How could these people be that clueless? There was even a scene earlier in the movie before all that happened to where it showed that guy that everybody thought was Michael, along with another guy, which they faded it out just in time, which is another prop I give to them. Use some common sense, people. How can you think that this man is Michael? Come on. Just come on. I get what they were trying to say with that whole scene about how Michael creates all these monsters within ourselves and we become the monsters. I get that. But they could have picked somebody else other than that guy that they kept on mistaking Michael for. It's just, it was nuts. It was weird. And it was stupid. And Michael's direction in this movie, we've already established that this is a new franchise. And the last one, Laurie clearly says that he is a human being who killed his sister when he was 6. He's mortal. They already established that. But things kept on happening, especially by the third act, that kind of negates that. And you're left wondering, okay, what are they trying to say? Is Michael human or not? Like, at least in the other, especially with the Curse of Thorn thing, they, like, drill it in your head that he's not human. I mean, because, like, all the things that happen in that. But in Kills, when they get to the point to where they're saying these things about Michael, but then they say something else, and you're just left hanging. And it's like, what are they doing? Like, he gets beat to a pulp. He gets stabbed in the neck, shot in the chest, and stabbed in the back with a pitchfork, and yet he still keeps on kicking. No. Human beings don't usually walk away from any of that. So again, you're just left with a big fat question mark on your face, and it's just, okay, well, we've got ends to look forward to, so maybe they'll explain something. In the end, guys, Halloween Kills was fine. I get why some people turn their back on it. I really do. I get some of the hate, but not all of it. Of course, I've always been lenient, as I've said many times. But I get why people wouldn't particularly put this on a pedestal. But I think it is a lot better than the last entry. I was on the fence. So Halloween Kills, what was your thoughts on that? Were you a fan? Did you like this film over the 2018 film? Or vice versa? Leave me your comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share the big 4. Make sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.